Hi there, my name is Erin Scott and I'm here today to present session 3 of our SEAL Professional Learning series. This session today is focused around the perceptual stage of SEAL, which is the second level. So I hope you enjoy your training, I hope you're sitting comfortably and we will get started. So just before we get started on our current training, I would like you just to think back to our training on the emergent level and our training on the kind of overall structure and content of SEAL, and just kind of reflect on what were your key takeaways, what things have you maybe already used in practice, what kind of things have you maybe built in or thought about, you've maybe been working with some particular learners since our last training session. So if you just turn to the person next to you and take a few minutes just to discuss and reflect, and then just restart the video when you're ready. So our training session today is highly practical, and you will need a number of different concrete materials and resources in your staff teams. The key ones you will need are on the screen now. So if you're able to pause the video, ensure you have these ready, ideally kind of one between two, and then restart the video once you're organised. So we have some key aims for session 3. Our first key aim is to build your understanding of the perceptual stage of SEAL. So what does that look like in terms of content, structure, progression from the emergent stage that we have just covered in our previous training? Our second key aim is to model and provide opportunities for you and your staff teams to practice lots of the specific practical tasks within each of the different domains. We would like you to develop your understanding and your confidence about using the different concrete resources and how you can use them to support and develop learners' mathematical understanding. And our fourth key aim today is just to provide further guidance and support around some of the specific SEAL vocabulary that you are going to come across within this stage. So as you will notice, the Perceptual Planner is very similar layout and structure to that of the Emergent Planner that we covered in our last training. So you will see that you have a table format, you've got your 6 columns that we call domains in SEAL. You will see that each domain has a title at the top, again, very similar to that of the Emergent, apart from a few slight differences that we'll come on and discuss throughout our training today. You can also see that there's a clear purpose for each domain that's highlighted in the pale blue section at the top of each column. Similarly, you get a script in each box to support you with how to help the learner and undertake that skill. You will notice that in each box, if you need a particular concrete resource, it will show you that in blue and it will outline what it is you need to use. So I'll be reminding you and prompting of you around that throughout the training today. So kind of key first difference is the number range that we're working with when we move to this stage. So for the first domain, in our last emergent phase, we were working within the range 20. That is now extended to 30. So for counting forwards, counting backwards, we're working within 30 within the perceptual level. All other columns, you're then working within 20. So last time we were working only up to 10, but now we've extended that range. So that is the first kind of key thing just to note for moving on to this stage. So you will notice that the 6 domains in the perceptual level are relatively similar to that of the emergent stage, but with a few tweaks and changes that we're going to come on and talk about. So domain 1 is all about number word sequences in that extended range now from 1 to 30. So thinking about those forward sequences, backward sequences, number before, number after, allowing the learner to tell you the next few numbers or a few numbers before the one that you've said. So a lot of similar skills than what we were working with in the emergent level. Coming then on to domain 2. So this is us really thinking around that numeral recognition, that numeral identification, that ability to sequence and order numerals either from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. And again, if learners demonstrate challenges with this, that's just something to be mindful of around, do they have a mathematical difference, or is there a gap there with that, and noticing those kind of things. Then moving on to domain 3, so figurative counting. So again, working with our groups of counters, now thinking about starting to have more than one group. How can learners add and how can they work out total amount altogether? What are their strategies that they use? That's just really focusing throughout this domain. Domain 4, all about those spatial patterns. So those different types of patterns, whether it be a domino dot pattern, whether it be a pairs pattern, whether it be a random array pattern, and again, building learners' confidence with those subitizing skills. Domain 5, again, we're building that confidence with finger patterns, but we're now extending that range from 6 up to 10 compared to what we were doing in the emergent level. And again, it's building that kind of fluidity, that kind of real deeper understanding around a learner using their fingers to make different patterns. And then this, for Domain 6, is where there's a change from the emergent level. So this is the very foundational skills now in multiplication and division. So we're starting to think about equal groups, sharing out different counters, different objects, and starting to build learners' confidence and skill around this. So it's important to consider what you might observe and notice in a learner who's working at the perceptual stage. So a learner who's at this stage might be able to count a collection of counters, whether that be 13 or 18 counters, but they might struggle with additive tasks where you have two groups of different coloured counters and you're asking them how many altogether, or where maybe one of the collections or both of the collections are screened, which means they're hidden, and we'll be coming on to explore those tasks later in our practical training. They might have some challenge with forward number word sequences beyond 10. They might either repeat numbers or miss out numbers, and that's important to be considerate of, and just document and record anything that you notice around this. Backwards counting, as we've previously identified, is always trickier than forwards counting, and that's why it's so important to practice this. But they might have challenges with counting backwards from 30. Saying number words before and after. So if you gave them the number 20, they might struggle to tell you that it's 21 that comes next, or what number comes before 19. They might find that quite tricky. They might struggle to identify the team numerals when they see them. They might actually say, so if you showed them 12, they might describe that as being 20 and making kind of errors like that. By this stage, they hopefully can kind of subitize numbers 1 to 4, but maybe with slightly larger quantities, they might struggle with that, and you might see them counting the numbers or dots individually. And then they might also struggle with your finger patterns from 6 up to 10, and they might want to, if you asked a learner to show you 7, they might want to actually go back and start from 1 to be able to do this. These are some of the kind of things that you might see in a learner working at this stage. So we're now going to move on to start the really practical part of our session today. So what I would like you to now do is switch to the modelled examples video on the perceptual stage. Watch the tasks being modelled for Domain 1. You can then pause the video and practice some of these tasks with a partner where one person's acting as the instructor, one person's acting as the learner, and then restart the video and repeat that for the other domains, watching the videos and then practicing some of the tasks. And then return to this video once you have finished your practical session. So thank you very much for taking part in our practical training session today. I hope you found it enjoyable and useful, and it's given you some ideas and strategies for working with learners. What I'd like us to do just to finish is to take a little minute just to think and reflect. What are maybe 3 of your key takeaways from this session today? Maybe make a wee note of these, and then you can return to look at that further down the line. Consider any questions this training has raised, anything that you're maybe still grappling with or thinking around, and then maybe even just have a quick chat as a staff team about any final reflections and thoughts before progressing to session 4 of our training, which is on the figurative stage of SEAL.